The film opens with the Los Angeles police surrounding a suburban home. Inside, a man named Joe is threatening to kill his wife and son after discovering her affair. Following protocol, the police deploy a negotiator, and that person is Jeff Telly.
You don't think I'm gonna do it?
Joe, you got the gun.
Come on. Let me come down here.
After 16 hours of negotiation, the situation reaches a dead end. Earlier, Jeff had managed to gain some control. Joe even allowed his son to speak directly with Jeff. But everything falls apart when at the last moment, Joe suddenly decides to execute his family.
Now I know why you couldn't choose.
You know we're gonna go to hell. Sorry, Jeff.
Jeff bursts into the house, desperately begging Joe to stop, but it's already too late.
Joe!
Jeff rushes inside to assess who has been shot. When he sees the scene, he is devastated, realizing that this time, his mission has completely failed. A year passes. Jeff is now seen in a new uniform, having requested a transfer to a small town called Ventura, still within California. In Ventura, Jeff immediately assumes the position of chief of police. After the tragedy a year earlier, he prefers administrative work rather than direct field operations. Around the same time, we are introduced to Walter, a father of two. That afternoon, before heading home, he and his children stop by a restaurant to pick up their food order. His daughter, Jennifer, gets out of the car to retrieve it, unaware that 3 delinquent teenagers are watching her with ill intentions. These 3, Dennis, Kevin, and Mars, secretly follow Walter's family all the way back to their luxurious home. Walter, unaware of being followed, focuses on his work as an accountant, transferring sensitive data from his computer to a CD and disguising the CD's cover so no one can easily identify it. After observing the house for several hours, Dennis and Mars finally decide to break in. Their actions are actually recorded by the CCTV, but Walter doesn't notice because he is busy arguing with Jennifer, who is begging for permission to go out. Dennis becomes even more daring when he discovers that the garage door is unlocked, allowing them easy access.
Shoot again, bitch.
Don't move, man.
What do you want?
Kevin, Dennis's younger brother, refuses to take part in the plan and follows them inside in an attempt to warn his brother and stop everything before it gets worse. But Dennis, already overcome by impulse and reckless ambition, refuses to listen.
Stay in the fucking truck! Dennis, man, you can't do this!
Not long after the intruders entered, a police officer arrived at Walter's house. The home's security system had automatically alerted the authorities when it detected an unauthorized breach. Dennis and Mars immediately panicked, but Walter, whose only concern was his family's safety, tried to remain calm. He attempted to persuade Dennis to let him speak to the officer through the CCTV camera. That way, Dennis could take whatever he wanted and leave without hurting anyone. The situation became complicated when the responding officer asked Walter to step outside. He had grown suspicious because the vehicle Dennis had been driving was still parked in front of the house. After running the plates, the officer discovered it was listed as stolen. Hearing this, Mars panicked and acted recklessly. Mars's panic made everything spiral out of control. Under pressure, Dennis suddenly snapped and struck Walter in the head, knocking him unconscious. Meanwhile, Mars continued firing at the officer approaching the house. Jeff was forced to intervene personally to evacuate his wounded colleague. Although the evacuation succeeded, the officer's life could not be saved. As the situation escalated into a full-blown hostage crisis, Jeff immediately called for backup from the sheriff's department and requested a professional negotiator. But before they arrived, Jeff attempted to communicate with Dennis himself. Drawing on his experience as one of the top police negotiators in the country, he managed to convince Dennis to talk. Jeff even manipulated him into revealing who fired the shots and the condition of the hostages.
Tell me you're the man in charge. That'll be your responsibility.
You tell me you didn't shoot my cop? All right.
Then get me the gun!
Inside the house, Kevin, now desperate, tried to convince his brother to surrender. He insisted that they weren't responsible for the officer's death. However, Kevin didn't realize that Mars, who was upstairs, overheard their conversation, further heightening the tension.
There's no way out up here.
A short while later, while searching for a way out, Dennis accidentally discovered Walter's safe, which happened to be unlocked. They also managed to reactivate the home's security system, causing all windows to seal behind steel shutters, making it impossible for police to enter. After forcing open the safe, Dennis found 2 bags filled with money. Even with the cash in hand, Dennis, Mars, and Kevin were running out of options, as the house was now surrounded from every direction. The situation became even more complicated when Walter's secret clients failed to reach him, despite an important meeting they were supposed to have. Meanwhile, Jennifer and her younger brother Tommy, locked in separate rooms since the beginning, continued trying to escape. The intruders didn't realize that Tommy had hidden a piece of glass and used it to free himself. Walter's house turned out to have an air duct system connecting all the rooms. Tommy used it to crawl into Jennifer's room and retrieve her cell phone. Outside, Jeff's job was technically over because an official negotiator had already arrived, and the operation was now under the sheriff's command. Jeff decided to head home and rest, still haunted by the tragic incident he had experienced a year earlier. After leaving the scene, Jeff stopped for dinner. He initially thought his wife and daughter had already returned to Los Angeles, since only Jeff had relocated to Ventura, but it turned out they hadn't. They chose to remain in town because they were worried after seeing the news about the hostage situation. As Jeff got into his car, he was suddenly held at gunpoint. His firearm was taken by a hitman, who then forced him to drive to a remote location. There, the mastermind behind the operation finally revealed himself. Before explaining his intentions, the mastermind ordered Jeff to hand over his handcuffs. They used the cuffs to restrain him, ensuring he couldn't fight back, because they had something they wanted to show him. To Jeff's horror, his wife and daughter had been taken hostage. The mastermind explained that they would spare Jeff's family only if he retrieved a DVD hidden somewhere inside Walter's house. Even though the Walter hostage case was no longer Jeff's responsibility, the criminals didn't care. If the DVD wasn't found, Jeff's family would be killed.
But when I have what I want, you get your family back. Let's bring this home, Tally.
Moments later, Jeff's phone rang. His assistant informed him that Tommy, Walter's son, wanted to speak with him after seeing Jeff on the news. Thinking quickly, Jeff used the information from Tommy to manipulate both sides, the sheriffs and the intruders, so he could regain control of the situation. First, he called Captain Seuss, telling him that all police movements were being monitored through the house's CCTV system. Hearing that, the captain immediately ordered snipers to shoot out every camera. Next, before the final camera was destroyed, Jeff quickly called Dennis using Walter's phone. He told Dennis that he was the only one who could help him survive. Jeff proved this claim by showing that the CCTV cameras were being shot one by one and that the police would storm the house soon. This trick allowed Jeff to gain Dennis's trust.
I'm trying to save your life!
Wait, I don't understand.
I am the guy, Dennis. I am the guy.
Afterward, Jeff contacted Dennis again and requested permission to speak with Walter. His goal was to discover where the DVD was hidden, but because Walter was already severely injured, Jeff begged Dennis to let Walter be evacuated from the house. Dennis, believing that Jeff had just saved his life, agreed to the request. At this moment, none of Jeff's colleagues understood what he was truly trying to do. All they saw was Jeff successfully evacuating Walter from the criminals. In reality, Jeff's decision was extremely risky. He even walked toward the house without tactical gear, accompanied only by a paramedic, just to carry Walter's body out of the danger zone.
1, 2, 3. Bang.
Go, Mikey, go!
Before Walter was taken to the hospital, Jeff desperately tried to wake him to find out where the DVD was hidden, but Walter remained unconscious. Jeff's insistence even caused an argument with a medic named Bob, who protested because Jeff kept forcing a critically injured patient to wake up.
Hey, get your fucking hands off me!
You want me to write this up? What you're doing can kill this man.
When Walter's secret clients learned that he had been transported to the hospital, they immediately sent someone to find out which room he was being treated in. However, the call was intercepted by Mike, one of Jeff's team members. With a heavy heart, Mike informed them that Walter had not survived.
I'm sorry, but I'm only permitted to inform you that Mrs. Smith was this.
In truth, Jeff had intentionally faked Walter's death. His goal was clear. By declaring Walter dead, the secret clients would have no choice but to rely entirely on Jeff. They could no longer threaten Jeff's family because he was now the only person who could enter Walter's house without raising suspicion.
So keep your shit together.
Meanwhile, Dennis and Kevin began arguing as they panicked, trying to figure out how to escape. In the midst of the chaos, Mars proposed a deranged idea, burning the house along with all the hostages, and using the smoke to block the police's line of sight so they could escape. The idea was obviously insane, but not surprising. According to police records, Mars suffered from psychological disorders caused by childhood trauma, giving him a strong compulsion to kill. Mars wasn't even interested in the money. He was doing all of this mostly because of his obsession with Jennifer. For reasons unknown, he desired Jennifer the way a child craves candy. Meanwhile, Tommy contacted Jeff again through the phone. He reported everything he had seen through the air ducts, including Dennis's discovery of 2 bags full of Walter's money.
A good friend of mine is watching over him. Wait for me to call you back, okay?
Okay.
Shortly after, Jeff received good news. Walter had finally regained consciousness. Jeff immediately asked him for the location of the DVD. To retrieve the DVD, Jeff secretly enlisted Tommy's help. However, not wanting to endanger the boy, Jeff repeatedly asked if Tommy was sure he could handle the task. Even so, Jeff knew this plan was risky and naive. He even lied a little to motivate Tommy to stay focused and determined.
Captain Webb was gonna save Planet Xenon.
Yeah, Tommy. But I need your help.
Jeff then put together a plan to take down the robbers. The main idea was to lure them toward the parking area while the SWAT team breached the house from another direction. After explaining the plan to the sheriffs, Jeff contacted Dennis again and asked him to meet in secret. During the meeting, Jeff intentionally told Dennis that Walter was dead, hoping to push Dennis further into a corner. When someone is panicked, they will cling to any solution that looks promising. Jeff took advantage of this by pretending to be a corrupt official. He claimed he was willing to help Dennis escape by helicopter, as long as Dennis gave him half of the money inside Walter's bag.
I know about the money. Trade the helicopter for the cash. Half an hour.
Meanwhile, Tommy managed to sneak into his father's office to look for this mentioned DVD. The title on the cover was Heaven Can Wait, but as he searched, he found 2 different DVDs with the same title, and that completely confused him. A new problem appeared when he tried to return to the air duct. The vent he used to enter earlier had already been sealed shut. He was forced to find another route and attempted to crawl into a different ventilation shaft. But just as he was about to move toward the next room, he was caught by Kevin, Dennis's younger brother. Fortunately, Kevin chose to stay quiet because he never supported the robbery in the first place. At the same time, Mars attempted to force Jennifer to escape with him. He even threatened to kill her if she refused.
No, I don't want to.
My girl comes with me.
The rescue operation finally began. The helicopter was already waiting at the front gate, and Dennis along with Kevin came out carrying half of the money to hand over as agreed with Jeff. Unfortunately, the plan immediately fell apart because Mars insisted on taking Jennifer with him. His reckless behavior ruined the deal Jeff had offered. To make Dennis turn against Mars, Jeff revealed the truth that Walter was actually still alive. That way, Dennis and Kevin could receive a lighter sentence if they chose to cooperate.
Let him go! Fuck you! Come on, Kevin! Come with me!
Damn it, Dennis!
After the escape plan collapsed, Mars grew even more violent. He insisted on burning down the entire house. He began siphoning gasoline from the cars in the garage to assemble Molotov cocktails. Meanwhile, Dennis and Kevin started arguing again because of everything that had happened. They actually had a chance to escape, but Dennis still chose to protect Mars, even though it was clearly the wrong decision. Outside, Captain Seuss assumed Jeff had failed to handle the situation and decided to take over the operation. But before he could act, a group of FBI agents arrived at the scene. Since they held higher authority, Captain Seuss was forced to hand over command to them. Strangely, the FBI immediately appointed Jeff to lead the operation again, something that instantly made Jeff suspicious.
When they recover the DVD, you recover your family.
Jeff's suspicion proved correct. The FBI squad was actually a group of operatives hired by Walter's secret client, disguised as federal agents. They didn't come to rescue the hostages. They came to eliminate the robbers as quickly as possible. They didn't even care if the hostages died in the process. All they wanted was to retrieve the DVD. Meanwhile, Kevin secretly devised a plan to save Jennifer and Tommy. He could no longer tolerate Mars's madness, but his plan was discovered, and in the end, Mars killed Kevin without hesitation. It didn't stop there. He immediately killed Dennis as well. Meanwhile, Tommy was still trying to rescue Jennifer and help his sibling escape, but Mars reappeared, blocking their way. Earlier, when Tommy was in his father's office, he had managed to take a pistol. He intended to shoot Mars, but unfortunately, he forgot to switch off the safety, making the weapon unusable.
Do it.
While running for their lives, Tommy tried calling Jeff for help. The stab wound Mars had earlier inflicted wasn't enough to stop his rampage. Jennifer was nearly captured again. Thankfully, Jennifer and her sibling managed to survive by hiding inside a reinforced steel-lined room. But there was a problem. Tommy had dropped his phone during their escape. Realizing this, Jeff panicked and immediately decided to storm the house. Jeff smashed through the front door while the FBI team breached through a window they blew open with explosives. Their primary objective was to find Walter's DVD. However, none of them realized that Mars had already soaked the carpets in gasoline and was preparing to launch a surprise attack. Eventually, Jeff found Jennifer and her siblings safe. The secret DVD was secured as well. But as they attempted to escape, they were confronted by an FBI agent who demanded that Jeff hand over the DVD. It became clear that Walter's mysterious clients intended to wipe out Walter's entire family to erase all evidence of their major criminal operation. In the middle of the standoff, Mars suddenly reappeared, and a three-way battle broke out. Whether because of his gunshot wounds or because he couldn't bring himself to kill Jennifer, Mars ultimately set himself on fire. The important thing was that his actions allowed Jeff and the others to escape safely. Moments later, Walter's client called and threatened to kill Jeff's family, accusing him of interfering with their plans. But Jeff calmly revealed that Walter was still alive. This meant the data on the DVD could still be recovered. Walter could only remain speechless after seeing how far Jeff had gone to save his children. Later, it was revealed that Walter's clients were a coalition of mafia groups and corrupt officials. The DVD contained data on hundreds of offshore accounts linked to their money laundering operations. The next morning, Jeff was ordered to bring Walter to an old shack on the outskirts of town. The idea was simple. They wanted to exchange Walter's life for Jeff's family. However, when Jeff entered the building, he realized he had walked into a trap. From the start, the clients never intended to leave any witnesses alive. Even worse, when Walter was freed, he suddenly betrayed Jeff and demanded that Jeff be killed.
What are you waiting for? Kill him!
See his face.
Come on! Kill him!
But it was all an act. Walter and Jeff had secretly teamed up as a form of gratitude for Jeff saving his children. Thanks to their convincing performance, Jeff's family was successfully rescued. Honestly, neither of them was sure the plan would work, but now, all those worries were finally behind them.